All right. So, chapter 11, Carl captures musk oxen. Today's assignment is saying that 5 times very fast. Musk oxen, musk oxen. Ugh. There are 2 things I'm jealous of Britta and Anna about. The first is grandfather. He says, with as few children as there are in Noisy Village, he can easily be a grandfather to all of us. But then Anna says, that may be, but you're still only my grandfather, really and truly. And Britta's too, of course. So when we were reading the paper to grandfather, it's always Anna who gets to sit in his lap and he calls her my little friend. Can't understand how he can tell the difference between Anna and the rest of us when he's almost blind. But he can. Yeah, Anna isn't hairy like Esau in the Bible. Esau, I hope I'm saying that right. You see, I have to use my sounds all the time, you guys. It is a good strategy. Hi, Layton. Hi. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry for interrupting the book, you guys, but Layton, the last time, no, I think it was the time before last, I was watching the video that I had posted, and I saw your baby. Is it baby brother? It's baby brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, he's so cute. So cute. I couldn't stand it. I kept rewinding it, and I was like, how could I have missed that when I was reading? I guess it's because I was reading.
Mm-hmm.
How cool. All right, I'm gonna open a window because it's already getting really hot. Chad, can you turn off the heater, please? I forgot to do that. It's gonna be yep. You hit the button at the bottom. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Yes. Is it off? Yay! Okay, sorry about that. Sorry. Okay. It was no trouble for Esau's daddy to tell his children apart when one of them was hairy and the other smooth. Oh, okay. Grandfather is really clever, I think, especially since Anna isn't a bit hairy. Still, grandfather is very nice to all of us. And it really doesn't make that much of a difference that Anna is the one he calls my little friend. But Anna and Britta also have a lake of their own right next to their cow pasture. That's the other thing I'm jealous of. We go swimming there in the summer and it has a lovely sandy beach. On the other side of the lake, there is no sandy beach, but there are high mountains. At least I think they're high. We pretend that the mountains on the other side of the lake are the Rocky Mountains, and we row over there in the North Farm rowboat. Carl says that a giant must have thrown all those big boulders and rocks around our Rocky Mountains. There was a long time ago when that was a long time ago when there were no people and no noisy village. I'm glad I didn't live then when there was no noisy village. Then we wouldn't have had any place to live. Carl says we would have had to live in the cave in the Rocky Mountains. There is one very big cave over there under a couple of huge boulders. Gosh, this place sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah. We always tie the rowboat to a certain pine when we get to the other side of the lake. Then we climb the mountains, but in our own special way. We have certain places that we can put our feet. This is necessary because it is so hard to climb mountains. We have one crevice that we call the nose scraper because it is so narrow that you almost always scrape your nose when you're going through it. but you have to go through the nose scraper. There is no other way. Then you go past a rock that juts a way out, where you have to step on a very narrow ledge to get by. Goodness, it sounds dangerous. We call it the arm breaker because Carl says that once Bill fell down there and broke off his arm. Bill says that isn't so. Well, he did fall down and he nearly broke his arm, but he certainly didn't break it off. But we call the rock the arm breaker anyway. The most dangerous part we call the dead man's hand. If you fall down there, you'll have to be wheeled home in a wheelbarrow, Carl says. When you've got past all those difficult places, you're almost on top of the highest mountain. And then, if you walk a little way toward the forest, you come to the big cave we call the Rumble Hole. One Sunday, just before school was out last spring, we took a trip to the Rocky Mountains. We took a picnic lunch and told our mothers that we would probably be gone all day. Carl tied the rowboat to the pine we always use, and then we started to climb. We talked about which was the most fun, climbing mountains or climbing trees. And we all thought it was just a little bit more fun climbing mountains. I don't know. If you get a good tree, that's pretty fun too. After we had been through nose scraper and arm breaker and were climbing over Dead Man's Hand, I shivered a little because it was so exciting. Carl looked down into the depths and said, anyone who intends to fall down here, put up a hand or a foot. Carl. Silly Carl. He is the silliest, isn't he? Yeah. We certainly couldn't put any hands or feet up because we needed them to hold on with. And besides, nobody intended to fall down. Soon, we were at the Rumble Hole. We laid out our picnic lunch in a beautiful clearing in the woods right next to the Rumble Hole. You always get hungry right away when you're outdoors, so we all thought we might as well eat. We had pancakes, about 100, with us, and jam, milk, fruit juice sandwiches, and cookies. Holy moly, that's a lot of sugar. Then we went into the cave. Carl said that perhaps people had lived there during the Stone Age. My, but how they must have been cold in the winter. There were huge openings between the rocks where the snow could blow in. Britta suggested that we should pretend we were Stone Age people. Carl thought this was a wonderful idea. He said that he and Bill and Olaf would go out to capture musk oxen. Musk oxen, that Britta and Anna and I should stay in the cave and keep the food warm. Isn't that always the way with Carl? Yeah. Britta said we should take bunches of leaves to sweep the cave with, and then we could put pretty birch branches in the cracks and make it home-like. It sounds like a lovely idea. Carl said, do whatever you want, even if it is a little stupid. Come on, fellows, let's go out and capture musk oxen. Carl can be a little rough around the edges, but Bill was so full after eating more lunch than anyone else that he didn't feel like capturing musk oxen. Then you'll have to stay around the cave and sweep. The main thing is for you to have something to do, Carl said. But Bill was so full, he lay down in the grass in front of the cave. He stayed there all the time, Carl and Olaf were hunting muskoxen and we were sweeping the cave. Then Carl and Olaf came back and let out an awful howl to show that the hunt had been successful. Like, oh, or something. Carl said it was a Stone Age howl and that people howled that way when they were hunting muskoxen in the Stone Age. He bragged about how dangerous it was to hunt them. And he said he had got a whole lot. We couldn't see any though. Then it started to rain, so we sat in the cave and had such a nice time. The sky was so dark that we thought the weather probably wouldn't get sunny again that day. But then, all of a sudden, the sun came out from behind a cloud. So we left the cave and looked out over the lake. The sun shone on a big stone slab on an island in the middle of the lake where we go swimming sometimes, and it looked so pretty. Carl said, "Let's row out there and take a swim." It hadn't been more than 2 days since we asked Mom if we could go swimming soon, and she said, "No, it's too early. You'll have to wait a little longer." "Well, we have waited a little longer," Carl said. Typical Carl. So we rowed over to the island. We undressed on a stone slab and had a race to see who could get into the water first. Bill won. His lunch must have sunk down some. Now this is a picture of them all wet. Or some of them. And I'm sorry, I gotta eat. I'm so hungry. But the water was so cold that we all came out very quickly. The first thing we saw when we came back to the stone slab was the angry ram from North Farm. Uh-oh. He can't be kept in a pasture with the other sheep because he jumps over all the fences and butts everyone he sees. So, do you know what butting is? When a ram butts you, they have like I think they have horns. I'm pretty sure they have horns, and then they slam their head into you. Ouch, right? In the spring, he is usually kept out on the island by himself. It's an awful job to get him there. Uncle Eric and Daddy and Uncle Nils help one another to tie his feet with rope. Then they put him on in the rowboat and Uncle Eric rows him out to the island and turns him loose. We had forgotten about him and were very surprised when we came out of the water and saw the rams standing on the shore staring at us. Ugh. Ulrich is the ram's name. Ulrich. "Oh, for goodness sakes," said Anna. "I'd forgotten all about Ulrich." I think Ulrich thinks it's terribly embarrassing to be tied up like that and put on a boat with all of the lambs and sheep looking on. Perhaps that's why he's usually so angry. Also, it's probably dull to walk around on that little island all alone. Now he seemed angrier than usual. Uh-oh. He lowered his head and rushed towards us. And Olaf got such a push that he fell down. But he got up again and ran for dear life. So did the rest of us. Bill and Anna and Britta climbed a high stone. Olaf and I climbed in a tree, and Carl hid behind a bush. I yelled to Carl. All right, you're so clever at catching musk oxen. Here's one for you. Almost. Show us how you can catch him. And Anna and Britta cried, yes, here comes the musk ox. Carl, catch him now. But Carl didn't dare answer because he was standing behind the bush, and if he spoke, Ulrich would know he was there. Ulrich was furious when he couldn't get at us. He stood under the tree where Olaf and I were and butted it until bark flew. Yowzes. When that didn't do any good, he went over to the high stone where Bill and Britta and Anna were. He stood below and glared at them as hard as he could. Go ahead and glare, said Britta. But then we started to wonder how we were going to get away from there. Ulrich didn't look like he was going to leave. Gee, I wish I had something to eat, Bill said. We had hidden what was left from the lunch in the rumble hole, and now that Bill started talking about it, we were hungry too. Have you gone to sleep behind that bush? Olaf called to Carl. Then Carl stuck his head out and looked around and tried to sneak over to the stone where Bill and Anna and Britta were, but he shouldn't have done that. Because when he did, Ulrich saw him. He rushed toward Carl, who started to run very fast. We all yelled because it looked so terrible to see him running around the juniper bushes chased by Ulrich. Run, Carl, run! Anna yelled. That's just what I'm doing! Carl yelled. Once Ulrich pushed Carl and he fell. And then we all yelled. So it sounded like the Stone Age yell. I think the howl must have scared Ulrich a little. Carl got up and ran on. Ulrich started after him, and we yelled still more, but it didn't help. There's an old barn on the island with the roof falling in, so it isn't used anymore. The door was wide open. Carl ran in there. Ulrich ran in too. Then I started to cry, and I said, oh, Ulrich will gore Carl in that barn. But then, all of a sudden, we saw Carl come climbing up through the hole in the roof. He jumped down to the ground and ran to close the door of the barn. The musk ox is caught, he said. So at last, we dared come down, and we all climbed up on the roof and looked down at Ulrich through the hole. Bill said, you nasty old ram, you. And I said, I hope Pontus never turns into a mean old ram like that. Then we had to go home. Carl told us to get into the rowboat. He said he would open the door of the barn, and then before Ulrich understood what was going on, he would rush down and throw himself into the rowboat. He said that even if Ulrich was an angry old ram, you couldn't leave him locked in a barn where he would starve to death. Absolutely. Even mean old rams need to eat. We did as Carl said, we always do. As we rowed away from the island, Ulrich stood on the shore and looked as if he felt like he was very sad that we had left. Just tell me if there are any more musk oxen that you want captured, Carl said, looking smart. But we didn't want any more musk oxen captured that day. We were so tired and hungry, we just wanted to get home. I'll see if Mommy has anything to eat, Bill said. The next story that we can read tomorrow, let me see how many chapters. I wonder if I can order the book in time. So we have 1 chapter, 2 chapters. We have 3 chapters. So if I order it today, maybe it'll come in time. Fingers crossed. So the next chapter is called The Cherry Company. The Cherry Company. So I'm going to take everyone off of mute. that I can anyways. I can't take you off, Emsley.
Okay. Hello?
Hi. There you go. You got it. So does anybody have anything they'd like to share before we sign off for today?
No.
No? Okay. So I will be here in this Zoom room tomorrow at 11, okay? And we'll start the reading at 11:10. So
I
if,
wrote a book today.
what's that?
I wrote a book.
You wrote a book?
Yeah.
You did? Would you like to read it to us?
UFO. The hunt begins on Colosseum Battlefield. The hunt begins on Alor Battle Team. Controls. Earth terrain. Battle time. Now. Colosseum. I might have like turned off my
Yeah, I think you got muted during that. But I could hear you a little bit a couple times. It looks like you're not on mute.
Like, you don't want to read anymore? You're tired? Why are you tired?
Well, Layton, would you like to read it to us tomorrow if you can make it?
I think he would.
Oh, we would love that. I'd love to hear it. All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to take everyone off of mute. I hope I can see you tomorrow. If not, I understand. And I'm going to order the other book today. So hopefully it'll be in time. We'll see.
We'll just do.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
See you tomorrow, hopefully.
Bye.
Bye.